Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we are deep diving into, well, the visual battlefield of the Sahel. We're using a really detailed analysis framing conflict, the Sahel's video propaganda game. It gives this almost clinical look at how armed groups are, weaponizing video, waging war, controlling narratives, recruiting, all across this huge territory.
And our mission here is crucial because the environment itself makes video uniquely powerful. The analysis calls the Sahel information poor, internet access, often limited, sometimes totally unavailable for most people.
That's the hook, isn't it? If you're a citizen, maybe in some isolated village, and suddenly you get this image, this video clip, say from the deserts of Agadez and Niger, it just grabs your attention immediately. It's unusual, it's interesting, and most importantly, it visually puts you right there at the scene, bypasses slow text reports entirely.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a whole spectrum of strategic intent here. So the core question for you today is, how do these groups, with really different resources, different agendas, from small political movements right up to global terror networks, how do they use specific visual storytelling choices, production quality even, to get what they want, politically or religiously?
Okay, let's start at maybe the most rudimentary end of that spectrum, resource-wise. The Patriotic Movement for Freedom and Justice, the MPLJ, an armed political group in Niger's Agadez region.
Right. And their mission from their communications seems purely political. They want democracy restored, specifically demanding ex-President Bazoum's release, a return to the Constitution. And, well, they want the junta in Niamey out.
And they seem laser focused on very specific internal political issues, especially hitting out against foreign economic exploitation. The source material shows them targeting foreign companies involved with natural resources up north. They explicitly name China's role in the Agadem oil pipeline and also the Chinese company building the Agadez-Zinder road. That road was targeted in the Abalama attack, wasn't it?
It was. So that economic angle is absolutely front and center for them.
And if you look at their actual videos...
Well, it reflects that local focus. Take their September 2025 video with their leader, Musa Kunai. It was spoken in the local Tubu language. The message is strictly political, zero religious overtones. And the videos are short. The example we have, just 1 minute, 15 seconds. Really basic.
But, okay, if the goal is just getting a demand out to a local audience, why video at all? Why not text or radio? Their production quality, as you said, it screams rudimentary. It looks like someone just grabbed a cell phone, Does that signal weakness?
Not necessarily weakness. It could be a very specific strategic choice. That lo-fi cell phone look, it's perfect for quick local sharing, especially where bandwidth is low. It visually reinforces that they're of the people, using tech everyone has access to. They aren't trying to impress global donors or anything. They're talking to their neighbors. Plus, they don't have that organized training footage or fancy graphics you see elsewhere. That helps distinguish them from the big jihadist groups.
Right. That distinction, political versus religious, basic versus sophisticated, that seems really key to understanding this whole conflict ecosystem. And just to wrap up on the MPLJ, the sources mention that immediate kind of narrative battle over the Abalama attack. MPLJ claimed it, but the Nigerian army instantly pushed back, right? Said the attackers were just mercenaries paid 500,000 CFA francs each from Libya.
Exactly. Propaganda isn't just making the video, it's controlling how people understand an event right then and there.
Okay, so MPLJ, internal, political, low-tech.
Yeah. Now, moving sort of up this strategic ladder a bit, we get to the Azawad Liberation Front, the FLA. This is a coalition, Tuareg political and armed groups in Mali. And their style, it's practically an action movie.
Ah, okay. This is where the editing budget clearly increased. They're active on social media, and you see these highly dramatic, very slick videos showcasing things like kamikaze drone attacks. The analysis points to that August 23rd, 2025 attack in Tessalit, targeting Malian government guys and these Africa Corps representatives.
And the visual tactics are really deliberate, cinematic even. They use dramatic music, lots of strings getting higher, that electronic action score, first person views, visual cues like red target circles highlighting objectives, sometimes the logo or even a fighter's face superimposed right on the screen.
All designed for maximum impact, maximum intensity, and aiming wider too, right? They use that English slogan at the end of the action videos, the backlash against the aggression. That shows a clear eye on a global audience.
Absolutely. And maybe we should clarify who they mean by Africa Corps. For you listening, that's the local term for the Russian-affiliated mercenary groups, what used to be Wagner. They're seen as a very specific high-value target, something that kind of unites a lot of these opposition movements.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting with the FLA. They put out these action films, but also completely different stuff focusing on governance, like the final declaration of the first ordinary session of the Revolutionary Council of Azawad. Very formal.
And those governance videos, notably, include women members. They even feature a representative of the women members of the council giving a speech.
Wait a second. So, including women, it isn't necessarily about internal progress or equality. It's actually a propaganda tactic to look better internationally compared to, say, Al-Qaeda or ISIS. That feels incredibly cynical.
It seems very much like a calculated move, yes, for external recognition. The FLA wants the international community, and probably moderate locals too, to see them as a legitimate political player, not a terror group. So by featuring women in governing roles, they draw this really sharp line, a non-negotiable line between themselves and the jihadist ideology, which would absolutely forbid that kind of public role.
Okay. So we've seen political insurgency, national liberation fronts. Now we shift gears. Groups where the resources and the goals are fundamentally different. Global jihad.
Let's talk Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam was al-Muslimin, JNI, Al-Qaeda's branch in West Africa.
Right. With JNIM, you're already seeing a bigger pool of resources at play. The production is definitely more edited, more careful than the political groups we just discussed. It suggests more money, more time, dedicated people doing this. Their videos tend to weave together battle footage, speeches by leaders, and training segments. And a really key theme in their recent stuff seems to be economic warfare. This isn't just random violence. It looks like a targeted campaign, blocking strategic roads, restricting essential goods, especially fuel.
Yes, it's resource control as propaganda.
Yeah.
We've got specific examples, like deliberately burning convoys of trucks and buses. On September 14th, 2025 alone, JNI apparently destroyed at least 40 fuel tankers in Mali. They're stopping fuel trucks, emptying them. That definitely hurts local people. But the strategic goal seems to be choking off supplies to pressure the government in Bamako.
And when they show training footage, new recruits, sometimes with a drone shot for that visual flair, what stood out to me was the audio. The analysis mentions they use an old nasheed, an old chant in the background. It kind of suggests that while they have money for drones and training, maybe creating new, original theme music isn't the top priority. They rely on established ideological sounds.
Which tells you something about their intended audience, perhaps.
Yeah.
And if you connect this to the bigger picture, look at the comments under posts sharing these JNIM videos. It reveals a pretty complex support base. You see people expressing support, yeah, especially when JNIM targets the Africa Corps, the Russians. But then you also get significant pushback. Comments saying, they should be fighting enemies in Israel, not killing innocent Muslims locally. So the audience might support the broad ideology, but often disagrees with the specific local targets. It's complicated.
Which brings us, I suppose, to the peak of sophistication in the Sahel. The Islamic State Sahel Province, ISSP. Their propaganda is described as arguably the most sophisticated of all these groups.
Yeah, they really treat their video releases like major events, like film premieres. They'll put out these high-quality teaser posters beforehand, build up anticipation, get people talking before the video even drops.
And the recent big one, Lions of the Sahel, it's almost 13 minutes long, 12 minutes, 53 seconds. And it's highly structured. It meticulously documents 7 different military operations, mostly across Niger and Mali.
The production value is just intense. There's one section covering the Douchy attack. It's edited to show targets outlined in red brackets, almost like a video game interface. And they're showcasing heavy weapons too, like a 23mm anti-aircraft gun being used.
That video game style editing, is that just flash? Or is it deliberately designed to appeal to younger recruits, people who grew up online?
Yeah.
Kind of normalizing extreme violence, making it look like just another mission objective.
Oh, it's absolutely targeted. It borrows that aesthetic that's familiar to young people globally. It tries to make the jump from a digital life to, violent combat feel somehow seamless, maybe even aspirational for some. And the content itself is engineered for maximum psychological impact.
Yeah, the content is extremely graphic, showing attackers chasing down and killing fleeing soldiers, executing captured troops. They even take time to display the military ID, the rank, the name of a captured commander at Inouye right before the execution.
That level of detail, showing the ID, the rank, that's not just proof of victory. That is pure psychological terror. Designed to shatter the morale of every soldier watching in the region, it's a calculated choice for maximum horror and proof that ISOs can literally capture and identify enemy leadership.
The narrative also works the spiritual angle, using quotes from martyrs, showing attackers praying, celebrating, and they spend a lot of time showcasing huge amounts of captured weapons and equipment.
That's proof of capability, right? For funders and potential recruits.
Exactly. And strategically, the geographical focus here is really important too. Niger, a country the analysis notes is rarely discussed in the mainstream media, kind of low on the international community's worry list. Well, it dominates this video. ISSP is clearly signaling Niger's strategic importance to them, regardless of where it ranks for everyone else. Okay, let's try and synthesize this whole spectrum then. From the very localized, kind of basic cell phone videos of the MPLJ aimed at Tubu communities, through the FLA's action movie style aiming for international legitimacy, all the way up to these highly resourced, globally conscious, almost Hollywood-level productions from ISSP.
What's really crucial here, I think, is seeing that split. The groups focused on national legitimacy, political goals, MPLJ, FLA, they use visual tactics specifically to distinguish themselves from terror groups, whereas the jihadist groups, JNIM, ISSP, deploy serious resources to make propaganda that's engineered for psych impact, resource control, and normalizing extreme violence on a global stage. And this use of video, it's clearly here to stay, it's effective.
And the source material looks ahead, doesn't it? It predicts how this visual warfare might evolve. We can't assume the tech just stays put.
No, definitely not. We can probably anticipate two main adaptations. First, just more drone footage, especially from groups like JNIM and FLA, makes the content more dynamic, more enticing. We're already seeing the start of that.
Okay. And second, this sounds like the bigger leap.
Yeah. Improved translation, potentially using AI. ISIS already has pretty effective, though unofficial, multilingual translation networks like Fursan al-Tarjuma.
Right.
But if AI supercharges that, it could basically collapse the language barrier. Think about it.
Yeah.
Not just translating text captions, but maybe auto-dubbing videos into perfect French, Spanish, even English instantly. Suddenly adapting the message to appeal to a totally different kind of global recruit. Maybe a disillusioned kid in Europe who'd never seek out Arabic or Dugu content normally.
Mm-hmm.
That fundamentally changes the threat picture.
So this raises a really important question then, doesn't it? Considering the Sahel is, strategically important, but often flies under the international radar, what happens when this incredibly sophisticated, visually stunning propaganda boosted by AI translation, making it perfectly understandable anywhere, turns this local conflict into something immediate, undeniable, and universally accessible for global audiences? That's definitely something for you, the listener, to mull over and explore until our next deep dive.